Now, Kamo, welcome to the show again. And to the viewers, the show is brought to you by the YouTube channel African Youth, the best version of yourself. Go check it out. Some cool, awesome content there to help you level up in life. And the channel is based on the foundation that uh, that you need to, as a young person, you need to go out there and do something about your situation. And it's always exciting to have people on the show who are doing good works and who can enlighten us and expand our perspective on life. And like I said, Kamu, this show is it's gonna challenge my belief system in a very in an intense way because of what you do. And just to introduce you, I know Kamu from high school, but we're never that close. I think it was a grade or two ahead of me, but yeah. And we connected on Facebook, and I saw the work that he was doing, and I'm very interested in what you do and how you got there. And Kamu, you're an entrepreneur. You run your own business, and don't you want to tell us about your business, what you do as far as in the property industry? You know, I love property, so I'm into property, so I'd like to know what you do in there.
Yeah. Well, basically, I'm an interior designer. So basically, what I do is that, in simple terms, I make people's property look better. And in some respects, we try by all means to make people's property to become their sanctuary. I've come to believe that more specifically in Black communities, we don't have the luxury of going on holiday almost each and every second month, or go international for that matter. So for me, what has inspired me actually to go into business with this, it's to create sanctuaries in people's spaces. Your hideaway after a hectic day from the office and all that. And also through the years, we have been able to expand the idea into also turning office spaces into something that you enjoy coming to. I think traditionally we all know that most people do not necessarily enjoy their office space. So what we're trying to change that culture of your mundane, your standard office spaces, but to make it more fun, to make it more attractive, to make it more even also the psychological aspect of it, to make it more relaxing, and more welcoming to you and people who would also become your clients and your customers and so forth. So basically, I'm an interior designer in short. Yeah. I've found home in the space of interior design, and it's something that I connected with because I've been obsessed about interiors from a very young age. It's just that when you're young, you're not that fully aware of this is something that you can actually turn into a profession at some point. So it all comes from that. I hope I've answered your question. Yeah.
Yeah, you have. And tell me more about Proper Fix and Benedict Studios.
Okay, so basically what I did is that in 2017, I started Proper Fix It. But at that time, it was only Proper Fix, right? And I was working in the areas of North Riding in Joburg, around about those areas of your Randburg and so forth. And I was, doing, minimal job. I was doing painting jobs. I would be called to repair ceilings and so forth. But each and every time when I would get a client who would want me just to do a standardized painting job, I would present something alternative to say, look, with that very same budget, interesting enough, we can actually make your space look more different to what it is at the moment, you know. And then also I worked in the areas of Pretoria North. Um, and that side is more township. It's more of a township more than anything. So I used to work around those areas, you know, transforming, doing, renovations, your standard entry level renovations, flooring, ceiling, painting, and all those other things. So that is what we have been doing throughout the years with Proper Fix It. And so Proper Fix It, basically, it's more of a maintenance company. We do maintenance, we do more of the practical contractual work. And Benedict Studios, actually, I founded the company this year. I was not really fond about actually naming a company after myself, you know. I
Okay.
mean, I started this entrepreneur thing in 2012, straight out of high school, and I started planning, studying businesses in grade 11. I remember I
Yeah.
used to have a hardcover book where I would write some of these ideas, and I would approach some of my classmates who I thought they had potential and who showed potential also, to do these things and so forth. So with Benedict Studios, when I first presented it to a friend of mine, and they said to me, "Look, actually, I think you're onto something here." But the idea behind Benedict Studios actually was to actually start designing, because with Proper Fix It, we did not do designing that much. We just did the work. When you're an interior designer, decorator, when you do renovations, you do something that has already been designed by someone in most cases. You're just there to do the work. So with Benedict Studios, what my plan and also what I'm trying to do with it is that to do a bit more work, a bit more designing, putting my personal touch in a lot of spaces and also furniture pieces, if life allows us. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that is, I think, yeah, that is the difference between the two companies actually. Yeah.
No, that's that's awesome. And you consider yourself as a creative artist. Now, what is a creative artist? What is it?
Mhm, mhm. The concept of a creative artist, first of all, I mean, you need to separate the two words. Create is to, allow yourself to be in a space where you can come up with something new, something different, something that will challenge a status quo, something that will change the way people perceive life and the way people understand a particular thing. And as an artist, you are taught, to always express yourself, to interpret life the way you see it. In 2016, by the way, my first year at that's one University of Technology, I was at the arts campus. So first year, you learn how to be an artist. You learn how to, do sculpture, to do portraits, to do painting and drawing and all those other things. you know Obviously, firstly you learn the basics, and then you go to stages where you learn to express yourself, because as artists we are constantly in a space where we need to interpret how life is and how we perceive life and which direction life is taking through art, through image. That is the language we speak. We're not big on reading. Don't get me. We're not big on reading. We're big on pictures. We like colors. So basically, that is who we are. Show us a picture. We will tell you, oh,
Yeah.
that was Picasso. Oh, yeah, those were the croissants. That is us. But don't ask us. That is not us. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
No,
basically, that
man.
is, yeah. Mhm.
That's interesting, and I want to know about the process of how your company works. Do you employ people or you work on a contract basis where
Yeah,
you
yeah,
outsource certain duties?
yeah,
And
yeah,
in addition to that, if someone wants to renovate their house or if someone
mm,
is looking to start or build a new home, how soon
yeah,
can you come in and start with
yeah,
the design process as far as that person
yeah,
or that client wanting you to have your personal touch from the very beginning of the
yeah.
property?
Mhm. You know, Level, like to be honest with you, first of all, like I've recently came back home to try out this concept, right? And one of the challenges is that you first need to introduce the idea to a client as the importance of having an interior designer, because basically you become a project manager, you know. Your responsibility is to find the right people to make sure that the job gets completed, above and beyond. Because historically, I think you would know that you have either relatives or parents who have
Yeah,
incomplete kitchens, incomplete bathrooms, incomplete
yeah,
dining room suites, and so forth. Primarily because one, people overcharge, and after getting their money, they disappear, right? And you can't hold them accountable because they do not have a registered company, or you cannot even trace them, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
my reasoning for coming back this side was to, first of all, provide opportunity to guys who I feel that they are talented. Because I myself, as much as I can do most of the work, as much as, I can do the tiling, I can do the painting, I can do the carpentry and so forth. But I want to provide an opportunity to, young men and women, even middle age and so forth, who are skilled in this, various, industries, to say, look, guys, let's collaborate and get the job done. That is my objective, because I feel, hooray, reputation is everything, and for us as Black young men and women, it is important for us to build reputation, through the work that we deliver. So what I do, is that in most of the projects that I do, is that some projects, well, mostly I do the designing, I do the project management. Basically, I outsource labor, I outsource the right skill set that can meet the standards of that project. In most cases, I prefer clients who have a budget,
yeah,
because I think, having a budget gives you a certain, it gives you discipline, it gives you an understanding that this is as much as you can go, and beyond that you will need to be creative about it, right? So as I step in, you give me a budget, right? And you tell me, look, Kamo or Benedict, I want you guys to renovate my kitchen, right? And the
yeah,
budget that I have is 100,000. And within that 100,000, I want to have also appliances. I want to have a granite or a marble countertop, olive white, or gloss finishing countertops, and all those other things, your cabinetry and so forth, within this budget. Okay. And then I go back and I contact all my suppliers to say,
yeah,
guys, look, I'm going to design something and I need you guys to tell me that, will we make this possible, right? Because also my responsibility as an interior designer that you cannot do as a client is that I negotiate with my wholesalers, right? Because you cannot step into a
yeah,
manufacturing company without a registered company or a company that is not
yeah,
listed in their database and say, look, I want a marble countertop, you know so I go
yeah,
on my client's behalf and I go negotiate to say, look, guys, I need this. This is a good client of mine, and if we get this thing through, we will also have another project, within the next 2, 3 years or so forth, due to referral and so forth. So with the budget that you give me, I look at what we can do with that budget, you know. We try to achieve the vision that you have, you know, but also at the same time, it is important that we become realistic with the client, you know, to say, look, with an amount that you have, we cannot give you an amount, we cannot give you a kitchen that would amount to 200,000, right? But what we can give you is an amazing, unique, and exclusive kitchen with that specific budget that you have. Even if it means I would have to go to KZ and to Cape Town, to Gauteng, to even outsource some of the most exclusive material, I will do it because what you want is something that represents you as an individual. But you don't want something that you saw from your neighbor or two streets down, but you want something that
Yeah.
also represents the person that you are, you know, because what is primarily important for a client and also for clients' homes is that, and personal spaces, is that the space needs
Yeah.
to be personalized. When I walk into your room, when I walk into your house, it needs to say you know,
Yeah.
not to say a catalog, yeah, bread loaves or banners or ellerines. You know what I mean? But it needs
Yeah.
it needs to have a sense of identity, you know. Um,
Yeah.
Hence, you know, in some of these most expensive, luxurious homes, you would have uh, a beautiful wall mural or a portrait of yourself, you know, trying to stamp your identity in your own personal home. So that is what we try to do, you know, as a company, as a consulting company, to say that with the budget that you have, and with what you like, with the colors that you like, the textures that you like, and what you would want us to achieve in your own personal space, this is what we can do, right? And if you feel that this is not good enough and you want this, this is how much it's going to cost you. And if we were to divide the project in stages, this is how many
Yeah.
stages we're going to do it at. But also, meaning it does not mean that if we're going to do a project in 3 stages, it means the first project is going to be incomplete, that someone who's walking in can see, or they still need to do the ceiling. No, no, that is not the point of it. What we are going to do is that we are going to take it to a certain level that it still looks good. Someone who walks in, you know, they must not tell that this is an incomplete project. But they must feel that, oh my word, this is something, right? This is something. And next time when they come, they get your space being elevated until we reach you know, the objective or the goal that we are working towards. You know, our responsibility is not to do incomplete jobs, because it also doesn't reflect well for the company and also the brand that we try to build. Yeah.
Now, also, and how do people get hold of you? What's your social media, accounts, Instagram, and all those nice things?
Yeah, you know, okay, currently we're still trying to uh, we're still working on our website first and foremost. Secondly, on Instagram, we are Benedict.studios, not
Okay.
underscore, but dot studios. Uh, so if you look for us on Benedict.studios, and then
Yeah.
on Facebook, our Facebook page is Benedict Studios. Um, and then on WhatsApp, our business line is 067 062 3876. Right? So it's 067 062 3867. There you can leave us a message. You can even send us a picture of what you liked, what you saw on top billing, or what you saw on these
Yes.
expensive magazines, and you would like in your own space, and we will try to make it work. We will try by all means to tell you, or even sometimes we don't necessarily feel the need to do the work ourselves, but we give you the best advice, you know, to say, look,
Oh, yeah,
this you
yeah,
can this much, and this might cost you this much, And these things you can find them here, there, and so forth. Because the power of empowering people is that if they're satisfied with the information that you
Yeah.
give them, they will
Yeah.
return. That is the
Yeah.
science of business, and building a brand, I believe. Yeah.
Wow, man, awesome. And here comes the juicy part. It's good that everything is you're working it out properly, but the journey was not that simple to get to where you are, and which goes against my belief system,
Okay.
because I always believed that people who do arts, should do it
Hmm.
part time. It shouldn't be something they focus on.
Yeah.
They shouldn't even study arts. They should do it part time
Yeah.
or study it part time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and here you are, an entrepreneur, a creative artist, and
Mhm.
you're doing your work and you're putting a dent in the universe.
Yeah.
And I want to know this, right? You
Mhm.
went to UT to study arts, or how was your journey after your metric here, as far as, okay, what do I want to be and how do I get there?
Yeah.
Was it your plan to study arts, or
Yeah.
not, or you just fell into it? What happened?
Yeah. Level, the interesting thing is that with us, artists, is that traditionally you come from, spaces, communities, and families that do not conform to the concept of art becoming um, a profession, right? But
Yeah.
we know a list of professions in our families. Like you have to be a lawyer.
Yeah, doctor,
You have
engineer,
to be a doctor. You have to be something that Gore, where you can get a pension fund, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And for me at first, you know, I come from a very, very interesting family. My mother is actually a principal, a deputy principal, actually. So she's a teacher by a profession. She loves teaching, right? And she's an
Yeah.
academic. Like, I
Oh
used to
man.
help my mother with her honors and her masters, and typing and all those other things. But me, far away from it. My dad is in the military. My dad is an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, but also is a disciplined entrepreneur because he's in the military. Discipline is part of
Yeah.
their, yeah, I don't know, status quo, if I can put it
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
I was coming into these people, and also my dad is an engineer, by the way. He's a mechanical engineer within the space of military. So I was coming with something that is more colorful. Now, whenever you want to draw pictures as a profession, you know, so
How did you
so
get through that? How did you get through
no,
that?
it took, look, in I finished my matric in 2011.
Yeah.
2012, I had to go to university. My university years, I remember I did not even consider even applying to university because I was so confused as to what I want to do, right?
Yeah.
I was confused primarily because I knew what I wanted to do from onset. I wasn't going to get thumbs up. Like I wasn't going to get the
Yeah.
most
Your
positive
parents were not
response.
gonna accept that.
No, 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 not even close. Because at first, what I wanted to do is that I wanted to go do fashion, right? I wanted to go do fashion at a private institute, even. So you can imagine the cost, you know. Um, then I then opted to do psychology because some of my friends would tell me, friend, you are actually good in this advising thing. You can advise, you can listen to people. And then I did uh, psychology for 6 months and then I dropped out.
Yeah.
After dropping out, my mother said, listen, take some time, think about what you want to do. And after that, we will look into that. And then
Yeah.
after dropping out, and I then went to go do interior decor at the design school of Southern Africa. It's a private institution. Uh, I did my full year. there,
Yeah.
and then that is where I started understanding more that actually this is something that can work. You know, if white people can make it work, I think we can also make it work. But also, you know, reality is that with us, there's a lot of teaching that you need to do in the process of building a brand. You know, you have to teach people the importance of color, the psychology of color, you know, and
Yeah.
changing species into becoming what it is. Because, you know, in understanding, the art itself, you'll understand that art actually trickles down to religion, you know,
Yeah.
because some of the most famous artists actually did some of the most amazing work in some of the churches that we traditionally used to go to, you know,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, and most of the people who go to church on Sundays, that is our parents, by the way. They 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 do not that they do not know, but they do not understand that aspect of it. That you know your Roman art, your Italian art, your Renaissance was inspired by artists, how they understood what was being told to them, what was being transferred to them,
yeah,
by, you know, uh, you know, people who wrote scriptures. I just forgot that word. Ne? I wanted to sound fancy, but I just forgot that word.
yeah.
So yeah, so basically for me in a personal capacity, then after that I completed that, and then I did my consulting, because it was part of the practicals. I needed to get a project that I can present as part of my portfolio so that I can get my certification and live happily ever after. But I'm not a ceremonial person, by the way, so I didn't even
Yeah.
attend my graduations.
Ah, this guy.
No, no, no. Like, no, I'm not fascinated about that. I think that is what I think most of us artists we are like that. We think we know better, but we don't. But we don't. That is just relatively how we are because we have a
Yeah,
different understanding of life, right? And
yeah,
then I went into I think in 2016, then I went to go study at the Tshwane University of Technology. I did my textile design. I didn't complete it primarily because uh, my second year,
yeah,
then towards the end of my second year, I heard then that actually this course that you guys are doing is going to be discontinued because it's the modules that you guys are doing here is outdated, blah, blah, blah. Like, so what
oh,
will be the use for me to do my third year if this thing is going to be discontinued and so forth, or it's going to be,
yeah,
you know, outdated, or whatever the case may
updated.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I left it and then I went back into my interior, left a bit that textile side of it, because for me, doing textile was part and parcel of the bigger picture. Then I went back and then went back to consulting. Ooh, I crashed and burned. Ooh, I crashed and burned because I thought I had the right answers, to be successful, but I didn't.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
um, I mean, I faced challenges of trying to rebuild my business,
yeah,
trying to make people understand what is it that I'm trying to do, and at
yeah,
that time, you don't have the advantage of experience, or references even, people who
yeah,
will vouch for your skill set and so forth. So I didn't do well. I didn't do well until I took some time, to say
yeah,
that, listen, you need to do some reflection, some reflecting as to how are you going to best do this and succeed at it. Because you need to understand that if this is the path that you have chosen, you need to make it work, you know and
yeah,
that weighs on your shoulders. That weighs on your shoulders in the sense that you are trying to sell a product that no one has ever consumed within your community, of course, has never
Yeah.
consumed, and now you need to make it more presentable and more attractive as possible. And it's not going to be
Yeah.
easy because, secondly, you do not have the necessary funds, to create a visual that is pleasant to them for them to understand what is it that you're trying to do. So those were some of the challenges that I encountered and I had to overcome, So it was not easy, but I don't regret a day. I don't regret a day. For me, I think personally, when I felt like I'm turning my life around was literally late in 2018. Imagine,
Yeah. Sure.
imagine. This is the person who finished grade 12 in 2011. It took me those years. In 2010, in 2018, that is when I started understanding that, now I found my purpose. Now I know where I'm going, and now I understand myself more than the profession that I'm trying to, you know, um, pursue. You know,
Yeah.
29 is a bit more smoother, in a
Yeah.
sense that, now you need to be practical. You need to understand that as much as you're ambitious, you need to be
Yeah.
practical at the same. You need to understand that as much as you have a vision, you have people that you need to sell the vision to, and
Oh yeah.
in selling the vision, you need to convince them this thing is going to work. So
Yeah.
yeah, those were some of the challenges, but yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm
I've
content.
I've
Yeah,
seen some of your work on social media, right? And
yeah,
I'm sitting here and asking myself,
yeah,
how did you break through
yeah,
whereby people know you and invite you to do work, you know,
yeah,
for them? How did you break through? Did you talk to someone who guided you?
yeah.
Did you get in through a company? How did you break through? How did you break
Yeah.
through? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Lebo, I'm a personal believer that, like, I'm a
yeah,
spiritual person.
yeah,
I think there's no greater mentor than God. Let's be honest, guys.
yeah,
There's no
yeah,
greater mentor than the person who created everything around you. Not a
yeah,
person who created a room, but the person who created and built that house, that the person that you consider as a mentor who's occupying
yeah.
just the room. You know what I mean? So
I
for
understand.
me, I had to kick off. Like I don't have like an explanation that most of these uh, inspirational people have, that I had to kick doors. And because
Yeah,
sometimes you try to kick doors and doors, they don't want to fall down. That is just the
yeah,
truth of it. But you
yeah,
need to find what you good at and try and make it work, right? For me, it was trying to be creative as possible. You know, um,
mm,
each and every space that I would find myself in, I would try and see what can I do. You know, um, I think one of my biggest highlight was when a friend of mine actually decided, you know what, I want you to actually do something greater for me. One of their businesses that they were venturing into. And I had to do everything from onset, from start to finish. I had to be responsible.
yeah. Um, yes,
Like,
yeah,
people are calling. So I had to be
yeah,
responsible from the project from start to finish, right?
yeah,
And this happened after years of not even practicing, of not even getting like clients who would want me to renovate their whole premises and so forth. You know, and I went into it saying that, you know what, here I'm going to set a tone. You know, I'm going to set a tone of who I'd want to be. I want to set a tone in a sense that each and every time when I walk into that space, I know that I did something that I'm proud of. And there's no shadow of doubt. There's no even, a percentage of doubt of maybe here I could have done it better. Here I could have changed this and that. No, 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 no. But I want to do it so good that each and every
Yeah.
time when I get into that space, I'm motivated to do more. Yeah. Beyond that, there's no romantic there's no romantic
But it looks like
story.
you had to do, it sounds like you had to do a lot of work. Maybe you had to do a lot of reading
Yeah,
or a lot of
yeah,
understanding of what people like or a lot of analysis. In short, it sounds like you had to put a lot of work to get to where you are. It didn't just happen whereby
yeah,
here we go. You had
yeah,
to
yeah.
grind and you
Mm,
had to push.
yeah. Um, whew, I did, but but I did, and I did, and also I think I'm one person who I mean I'm still trying to sell
Yes.
my journey through like and put it out there on social media. I'm
Yeah.
not particularly I'm not particularly good and great at it. I think
Yeah.
more importantly, as an entrepreneur, most of your battles are internal more than external, you know, because self-doubt comes from within, and you need to sell the idea to the other side that doubts you within yourself, you know. For me, so most of these journeys and hurdles that I had to come across or had to jump over were internal, and once you conquer those, nothing external will defeat you. Nothing, because the only person who can literally destroy you and pull you down is yourself. Because even
Yeah,
the
that's true.
person who thinks that they have power over you, they also doubt in themselves that
Yeah,
can I really pull this person down? So for me,
that's true.
as I was saying, some of the hurdles that you come across are internal, like, because you need to build confidence from within.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
not the most confident person. I mean, some people might say that I looked confident, but I was not. I was not the most confident person because, um, when you look at other people, because when you put in your when you put yourself in a space of comparing yourself with other people, you're about
Yeah.
to fail. You know, I'm a personal believer that, for us to succeed, we cannot compete with each other, but we need to start complementing one another. Because when you start complementing one another, you create a pattern of success. You literally piece the puzzles together. But competition does not complete a puzzle, but
Yeah.
constantly it looks to find something, a shape that is bigger than the one that you have just placed. And sometimes there's no space for big puzzles and things like that. So for
Yeah.
me, when I was going through these internal battles and so forth, those were some of the most greatest conversations that I had with myself, that I need to grow into a space where I can be, in a zone where I can complement someone, someone
Yeah.
else, someone who's doing something. I can work with that person,
Yeah.
sit down and come up with an idea or come up with a solution that will, make sure that through the both of us, we can change more people's lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes I think I think, I don't know, we fail to understand that, I think Tyler Perry said it at some point that, you know, your I mean your vision, you
Yeah.
know, um, other people's dreams are dependent on your vision's execution. The
Oh
minute
yeah.
that
Yeah.
the minute you start to execute your YouTube channel, the minute you start to execute your TV channel, on Netflix, this show on Netflix and so forth as a reality TV. Someone
Yeah.
who's been in the space of production, who's been wanting for something that provides young artists, provides people who are in, growing stages, a platform to voice out, has been waiting
Yeah.
to, find that space and then connect with it so that they can build their brand. So I believe that, in challenging myself each and every morning, to wake up early, to come to the office, and sometimes you don't even have ideas. You don't even know what you're going to do early in the morning at the office. You know, uh, the bank is on your case about, when are you settling those negatives and so forth, you know.
Yeah.
But you do it because you understand that the vision is bigger than I am. The vision is
Yeah.
bigger than my name, what I have been trying to achieve. And I mean, this is just for me, literally, I feel like I'm just you know, at the starting line. Greater things are coming, primarily
I mean, for
because
sure.
really greater things are coming because
Yeah.
I constantly meet the right people. I constantly meet like-minded people. And it's not
Yeah.
for me. Like my success, it's for me, my success is not just about me, but I want a collective success. I think if I wanted to be successful alone, I would have been a billionaire. No, that is a bit ambitious. I would have been a millionaire by now. But and I think some of my friends would attest to this. But for me, I want a collective success. I want that. I long for that, where I can be in a space where I'm surrounded by friends, by acquaintances, by colleagues who are just as successful as I am. Because now it means that our community is far more empowered than if one person is successful. You know what
Yeah,
I
that's
mean?
true.
You know,
Yeah.
from people who make bricks with unregistered companies, with businesses that are not SABS approved, but reaching a point where they manufacture bricks that they can literally export, to different SADC countries and so forth, because there are some things that you are producing at a micro scale that are needed
Yeah.
on a macro scale. You just don't realize it
Yeah.
sometimes. Sometimes you don't have the modalities to make it, reach or cross borders and so forth. So I'm a firm believer of like a collective success. And I think being in a space of home improvements, it makes you realize that you cannot succeed alone, but you need other people. You need electricians, you need tradesmen from different professions to make sure that the business succeeds at the end of the day. Yeah.
Oh man.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, this is awesome, and I like what you say there. It's nice to see other people succeed as well. It's not nice to be the only one who's standing out. You know,
Yeah.
it's nice to enjoy life with other people. I
Yeah.
guess a lot of us we're learning from the social distancing how important relationships are in life.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's what I want to hear from you is what is your advice to someone who's in matric and they are a natural artist and they wanna pursue,
Yeah.
you know, being an artist and being a creative. And in addition to that, what's
Mm.
your advice to parents who are still conditioned in
Yeah.
a way that for them something that has to do with arts or artists,
Yeah.
it's a no-go zone. Either you become an
Yeah.
engineer, a doctor,
Mm.
or you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
and yeah, like what's your advice to those
Mm.
two groups of people?
Um, First of all, if you're in matric and you want to pursue um, the creative space as a profession. And this is something that I used to share with my classmates in 2016 at the go TUT, that first of all, you need to understand the business aspect of it. That is important because as much as you are an artist and you are conscious about life, about voicing you know, uh, your view of life through art, you need to be conscious about the fact that you are in a space of business. At the end of the day, your creative, your painting, your art needs to sell, right? So if you're in grade 12 and you're thinking of becoming an artist, moreover, moreover, you need to understand the language of business. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends who are artists, but who are not pursuing their dreams because their dreams did not provide them the ability to sustain them. Because they just wanted to paint. They just wanted a plain canvas with oil paints or with water paints to do something revolutionary. But you are black. You are black. How many of your neighbors have a painting or an artwork in their house? How many of them have a sculpture in their garden? None. Be realistic. Think about the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
Think about, as a young black artist, if you're a painter right now, Lebu, and you want to sell your art, what is the most sensible thing that Hore, it's in there in almost every black household, that if you create this thing and it will sell? What is it? Think about it. Think about those things. I mean, look, every household needs a plate to eat on, and you can put your art on that
Yeah.
plate. Every household needs a tray because black people love to visitors. Every household needs a tray, and you can put your canvas on a tray, and you can mass produce it. You can sell it. That is the language that I need young, black artists to think. Before you leave matric, you need to think mass market. Because look, I'm an artist, but I also think mass market. I'm not confined in the space of being just an artist, but I need to make sure that I sell, because each and every household has a curtain, and parents love colors, they love curtains, they love all those things. Make sure whatever art that you're producing, it's good enough to mass produce it into a product that gets into each and every household. That is what I want to say for these young men and women. Black parents, ne? First of all, your child must, before your child sells you a dream of being an artist, they themselves need to believe in it, right? That is important. You cannot afford a child who's going to fail through something they thought it was relevant in 2016. In 2018, they think it's different now. You need to be conscious about that, right? I mean, you cannot force someone to do something they don't love. The best thing that you can do is that try also to be equipped with knowledge to make sure that this child, when they step into this industry, they can also start thinking on how they're going to sustain themselves. Do research as much as they are doing research. You also do your research to say, listen, child, hey, Papa, Connie, hey, Level Tabo, Steve, Wena, as much as you want to do this art thing, you need to remember that your paintings need to be on each and every t-shirt, on each and every fabric in the Southern African region. People will appreciate your art if it's all over, because you need to make sure that happens. Because at the end of the day, they need to sustain themselves,
Yeah.
Art is fun when you have the abilities to pursue whatever you envision. It's much more fun and much more liberating. It's not fun when you are depressed because you cannot um, afford yourself to buy a canvas that is 8 meters tall or whatever the case may be. It's fun when you are able to create room for yourself to even do bigger. You know, there's no secret to it. We live in a society where income is important. Monetary is almost everything. You know, as an artist,
Yeah.
you need to be conscious about that, that whatever you do, it needs to also sustain you. It needs to have, you know, you need to have an income at the end of the day. You know, art does not mean that you have to be money driven, but you need to be wise enough to make sure that whatever art that you are putting out there, because you want people to see it. You're not designing something, you're not painting something just to be seen by you only, but you want people to see it. You want people to hear your voice. Make sure that you create spaces, you create systems and modalities for you to mass produce your artwork. Nothing like yeah, yeah,
Man, yeah, that's solid advice,
yeah,
and I hope some young people will listen to this and understand, and even older people as well, our parents will understand that, okay, if my son or daughter wants to go through with arts, let's
mm,
check his or her headspace as far as does she or he
yeah,
understand she needs to create so much
yeah,
value in this that she can
yeah.
sustain her or his life. Right.
Value, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Ooh, that word. Oh yeah. Hmm. That that word.
Man, come on, man.
Yeah,
I don't know any last words as we wrap
yeah,
this out. I mean, I've learned a lot today, and thank you for
yeah,
opening my eyes to this,
yeah,
because
yeah,
somehow you've opened my eyes in a way that art is not only just a painting, you know. It's not only that, and it's more of a communication, and there's so many avenues or so many options within arts that one can branch into. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
when you said you're a creative artist, I was listening to one of your live videos on Facebook, and I was like,
yeah,
let me find out what Kamo is doing, right?
yeah,
And then I
yeah,
saw interior design, decoration, and stuff. I'm like, art
yeah,
in my head is painting, right? It's like
yeah,
painting,
yeah,
those frames that you see in every household. When
yeah,
you come in,
yeah,
that's art.
yeah,
People are
yeah,
busy painting the whole day, and
yeah,
then I see your work. I'm like, man, this guy's work is amazing. And then I started thinking, oh, now it makes sense. Like, there's so many ways to do this, but how? I never knew that people are
yeah,
actually designing our homes like this are actually artists. I
yeah,
thought there are people who studied architecture or things like that, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah,
But,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
I'm realizing that there's so many options without arts, and man,
yeah,
thank you very much for giving your time to share some knowledge with us, and
yeah,
I hope this is gonna talk to someone out there. It has spoken to me. It has changed my way of thinking. Like I said, my belief system was challenged and is challenged, and I think now I've lost the challenge. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I don't know all of this. I didn't know all of this, and as we wrap this show up, any last words you wanna
yeah.
share?
Yo, I don't know. I don't, I don't know. Like, uh, well, you know, uh, well, I believe that, uh, I think more especially since we're doing this, um,
Yeah,
in a youth month, right?
yes,
And in a time where young black men and women need to rise to the occasion.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I think more importantly, we need to understand that for us to rise, we need to
yeah,
create spaces that accommodate each and everyone's personality. It does not matter, where you come from. culture, ethnic, you know, a religious group and so forth. This is a time where we need to literally converge and create something bigger than us, you know. My last words, would be that as an individual, first of all, you need to understand that you are part of a community, right? Whatever that you do or you want to create, it will impact someone else. It's not just about you. As much as you would like, you waking up in the morning, dressing up and going to work to be just about you, but there are people who are looking at how you walk, how you dress, how you smile, how you respond to certain things. You are part of a community. That is far more important than anything. Because even in the science of business, you need to understand that. In the science of art, you need to understand that when you do something, when you do an artwork, you are communicating either a message of a particular group or you want your voice to be heard by a particular group. You know, I think for us, we need to understand more importantly what the creator is busy saying to us, like it or not. Like, I don't think God has been louder than he is now, you know.
Yeah.
More importantly, we need to understand that we need to come together to create spaces that accommodate each and every one of us. We cannot be separated by past beliefs, traditions that seem to degrade one culture or one religion, but we need to come to a space where we understand each other. We can, build one another so that we build a world that we desire. Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's not even complicated, but because in life, problems are more complicated than solutions, actually. And problems are complicated to those people who spend 80% of their time focusing on the problem and 20% of the solution. But when you begin to turn your mindset around and focus 20% on the problem and 80% of the solution, 90% of your life will consist out of happiness because you are solution orientated. You are not particularly focused on dwelling in the problem itself, but you identify the problem, but you dwell on the solution so that you don't encounter the same thing 2, 3, 4 months or 5 years from now. So, look, yeah, there's no secret to life.
Yeah.
The best thing that I would say is that create a space that accommodates other people because you don't live by yourself, but you live with other people.
Yeah.
And how you live in harmony is by creating spaces that also accommodates other people. Nothing more. Yeah.
Right.
Even in business, you understand it. There's
Oh,
nothing too difficult about it, actually. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, who would have thought that in 2020 we'll be talking like this?
Hey, hey, during load shedding.
you know?
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
No,
I
Kamo, thank you very much for coming through to our show, and
understand.
I'll leave this show on my Facebook timeline as well. But in addition, I'll also move it to the YouTube channel. And I mean, to the viewers, a lot of people have been, contacting me and saying thank you for starting the channel. Because actually, come how I started the channel is I'm in the supply chain space, right? Supply chain
Yeah,
industry
yeah,
space,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
studied at University of Pretoria. So what happened is my lectures will refer some of the students, to me, as far as them
Yeah.
wanting some insight on the industry, like what happens to the actual workspace. So it came a
Yeah.
point whereby, like, sometimes I don't have enough time, to cater
Yeah.
for all of them, because how it will happen is my lecture will send them my LinkedIn details. They'll pop me a message there and asking to meet, right? And then I'll check my schedule and then fit them in, and they can come through. I give them a tour. They ask me questions about work, life,
yeah,
all of these things, right? Trying to understand my headspace and what
yeah,
actually happens at work, and I'll give advice to them, like, you need to work like this or like that in your personal space or personal life. You need to take care of yourself like this, like that, because you need to be sharp all the time. So you need to take care of your work and yourself as well, right?
yeah,
And I mean, then I said, you know what? Why not put all of this on a YouTube channel,
yeah,
and
yeah,
whenever they contact me, I can refer them to the channel, and maybe I've addressed some of the issues in there. But then what started happening in the channel is it started helping other people as well, and it became a broad thing whereby I was helping like a lot of young
yeah,
people, not only those who are studying, but those who are working and those who are doing the internships and stuff like
yeah,
that. And
yeah, yeah,
and yeah, and that's how we ended up here, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring people from different industries to just
yeah,
tell us what's happening in there.
yeah,
And today was the arts industry.
yeah.
And
You,
thank you for
yeah,
coming through.
yeah.
Thank you for
You
coming
know what?
through. And yeah,
I think more importantly,
yeah,
I want to say thank you first, right?
yeah,
And there will
yeah,
be many others who will be thanking you after this for creating such a space, because we are in an era that we are in an era where such spaces are much more needed.
yeah,
You know, the most important people, who we should always send thanks to are the people who initiated, not the people who
yeah,
are getting the credit for what others started. It's the people who actually initiated the most important steps. We are
yeah,
here where we are because there are people who laid their lives, who sacrificed, who created spaces like this, so that we can put the message across, so that it can change someone's life. So, like from the bottom of my heart, when you said, "Listen, I want you to come through," I didn't hesitate. I said, "Yes." Listen, no load shedding was formed against me, because it was. It's not about me. It's not about you, but it's
yeah,
about more and more people. I mean, we need to do these more often. We need to.
true,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I honestly thank you. I had no idea that you were in Pretoria, by the way, in Hatfield, Nogal.
Really? Yeah. I lived
Yeah.
like now I live in Joburg, but I lived in Pretoria for 4 years.
Hey, you live in Joburg. Sure, may the grace of the Lord be upon you.
Ah!
I feel that city. I'm so, yeah, but I'm honestly grateful for this platform, man. I do. I'm honestly grateful. Hey, but you, Joburg. Hey.
Ah, isn't
Oh, Jesus.
Nah, thank you very much for coming in, and
Thank you so
I do check your videos
Thank you. Thank
on
you
the
so much.
social platforms. So you have another one about how to renovate your bathroom, and
Hey, it's
yeah.
coming by Friday. By Friday. Lebone, it's so funny how people think that renovating a bedroom would cost them tens of thousands. Like, people don't know that under 5,000 rand, you can actually change your whole bedroom. Twish. Like, even 1,000 rand it's just enough to transform your whole bedroom, so that when someone walks in, like, no, but this looks different. Because people think each and every time when you renovate, you need to change the most expensive things. It's not the case. So those are the things that I would basically want to share, because black people need to know, what? Goma Goma is not the way to heaven. You know, there, there are other avenues of actually making your space look more friendlier, more nicer, no, more vibrant even. So yeah, yeah.
I'm definitely I'm definitely gonna check those videos out. Definitely. And thank you for doing that as well. I mean, you're helping us as well, and I mean, it's appreciated. It really is. And to the viewers, thank you for tuning in. I saw a couple of people came through, and thank you for coming through. And I hope you like, share this, and let's try and help each other as a community. Go to the YouTube channel and African Youth Best Version of Yourself, and go check some content there as well. Go visit Benedict at Benedict dot studios on Instagram, right? Go check him out and pop him a message, pop him a DM. That's what they say. It's a DM. It's not an inbox. You know, and thank you very much. And hopefully we'll talk again. You know, and
Absolutely.
and peace from my side. Take care of yourself
Thank you so
back at
much.
home.